Welcome in, my friends. It is I, Dicey Devon. So this video is going to be a quick tutorial on how to patch ROMs, because guess what? Super Mario World Central has changed quite a bit, and the meta to get yourself going in emulation and stuff like that is definitely changed. So, yeah. The first thing you want to do is go into a website called Super Mario World Central, which, you know, I've been there several times. And you don't actually need an account, but I am using my own account over here. And what you basically want to do is first you want to grab yourself a ROM from Google. For transparency's sake, I cannot actually tell you guys what exact sites to find a Mario World ROM, because that's illegal. But if you get your hands on it, I mean, it's free game pretty much. So I got my ROM here, and you're gonna need this for playing ROM hacks. Before we get to that, yeah, welcome to Super World Central. It's got a bunch of stuff. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go into Tools. Inside Tools has a bunch of stuff, but you mainly want to look for something called an emulator. An emulator is a thing that'll allow you to play ROM hacks and also just ROMs in general for the Super Nintendo. My preferred one is a emulator called SNES 9X version 1.63. Technically, that's actually a version up from what I typically use, but people would recommend Huygen, people recommend Messen. I'm going to use SNES 9X for this tutorial, but you can look into other options if needed. So, yeah, let's just click the download button, which is over here. So now that I have the tool right here, you just kind of want to move whatever version of your PC is needed. So you just drag this in. Typically, I have this in its own separate folder, and that's kind of why the logos match for this. Typically, you're gonna have that page logo on your file instead of this, but once you have like SNES9X, you can kind of sync it, which is basically what you do when you go to open with and choose another app, but I just use SNES9X. So this is your ROM stuff. So this is your emulator. It's right here. It's gonna create a bunch of files in the background. And you can click and drag, or you can just search it up in here. And yeah, this will just be like Mario World. You can make it look nicer if you want. Like, you can change the settings around, display settings. I don't do Direct 3D, I do Direct Raw just to make it pixel perfect. And if you want, like, other stuff, you can set this for constant 60 FPS. You can also change the aspect ratio. And yeah, that's Mario World right here. But we don't want to play Mario World. We want to play a ROM hack. So let's get on with this tutorial here. So yeah, that was SNES9X. It's just on the Central under the Tools section. Now we're going to go into the Hacks section. There's quite a lot of these. Now, you probably might be confused what the hell any of the difficulties mean, or what's a Kaizo, what's a standard, what's all the authors, because guess what, some of them are collabs and some of them are not. Basically, what you want to do is, you have, like, a bunch of, like, stuff over here that kind of doesn't mean too much. You can filter with, like, collaborations, like, multiple people working on a single project. You can either do yes or no on that. SA1 is just, hacks that run a bit faster than normal, though, that being said, most hacks are gonna be, like, fairly optimized. So you don't really want to mess with that if you don't really want to. Demos, typically you don't really want to play demos unless it's like super promising, or it's like not even gonna be updated again, so you can pick and choose that. Hall of Fame is a little bit interesting. The Super Mario World Central website has something called the Hall of Fame, which lists like a bunch of recommended hacks for people to play. Some of them are Kaizo, which means like super hard stuff that requires like technical knowledge of the gameplay. But there's a lot of, like, good, normal stuff. Like, for example, over here. Look, I made this. Yeah, something like jump half, which, you know, speaking of which, I guess we could try with this, but first let's continue our little dig around over here. So, difficulties. It goes from newcomer, which is basically stuff easier than Mario World, casual, which is stuff like around the same area as Mario World's difficulty. Intermediate will be higher, advanced is even higher than that. And then you have these three, which, there's only really one Grandmaster hack that's in the easier, quote-unquote, standard difficulty. But you can just, you can drag for multiple, like, in a group, or you can just click on one. Let's go advanced, and yeah, so these are the types. Standard, which basically means, like, stuff that you don't need technical knowledge of the game's mechanics to understand. Kaizo means the exact opposite of that. You basically need, like, a good understanding of the game's mechanics to even beat the levels. Puzzle is typically, like, something along the lines of, say, like, kinda Zelda-ish type stuff, but there's also, like, RPG maker things, too. Tool-assisted basically means, like, you have to use save states to beat it, or rewinds, or, like, frame advance. Pit is basically the exact same thing as tool-assisted, except, like, extremely precise, so you have to beat it with, like, you have to beat it with the same logic as, like, a tool-assisted speedrun. You have to, like, program your own inputs just to beat it. It's kind of insane. And, yeah, the only advanced pit hack is this. But, we're not gonna download that. I'm gonna go advanced standard. And I typically like to go into the gallery option. And yeah, let's just, see what's here. Yeah, we have Glow, which, fun fact, I made the final boss for. Revenge of Switches Press, that was a contest entry from a bit ago. Wabi the ROM hack. Oh yeah, so, even though it is filtered, you're gonna get, like, standard and Kaizo blends sometimes, so you wanna watch out for that. But, well, you'll also see it on the download page itself, just in case. Ah, here's a good example. So yeah, Mario's Mystery Mead, let's go. So, yeah, this is Mario's Mystery Mead, which is a bizarre ROM hack. If you're aware of a user called Vine Sauce, it's basically in jokes about that. And yeah, if you don't, it's still enjoyable, blah, 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 blah. So, we're gonna use MMM as our example over here. So, in other tutorials, it kind of tells you to download, like, an IPS patcher, because you can't actually distribute ROMs on, the internet without it being illegal. Which is why Nintendo's all like, no, our old games, we can't have people distributed for free. We gotta use an online service for that. Yeah, that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's why I wasn't able to, like, show you guys how to download a ROM. So that's basically the reason why. But yeah, there's a new feature on SMW ROM Central, which is the main reason why I wanted to make this video. There's something called a Patch Now button, which requires no other downloads besides the ROM. So yeah, let's give it a try. So, you're first going to be provided with this little thing over here, which is basically instructions. What's inside the zip file and stuff. You want to click Browse. And once you found your ROM, you just put it in, and yeah, you get the check mark. If it's an X, it means you have the wrong version of the game. You have to find another ROM on the internet that's Mario World. But if you get this check mark, that means it worked. So, yeah, now that you loaded the ROM to the site temporarily, it's not actually, like, storing it, but stuff and things. Yeah, you press download, and yeah, there you go. You get a zip file called patched MMMeat. As you can see, not only do you get the patch, but you also get the ROM with it. It's pretty convenient, isn't it? So, and yeah, you can also just make sure it works by placing it in your downloads folder, or your ROM folder, rather. You can also store it in the ROMs folder that was provided, so yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, meat. So, I'm not just gonna click it, I'm actually gonna do this. So yeah, you load the game again. ROMs. And there it is. I'll censor that, don't worry. So yeah, you play Mario's Mystery Meat. So yeah, this is just a fairly quick tutorial, not that quick, on how to download a ROM on Super Mario World Central. Yep, you don't need any patch stuff, you just need the ROM, and you can patch now. Rest of the video, I'm gonna show you the old way of doing it, but yeah, that's for those who don't have the patience for, handling patchers, but yeah, let's do it the old-fashioned way, just in case, like, you want to do it legitimately, because there are some sites that don't have this feature, and it's kind of useful to know. So, yeah, let's go back to Tools. You want to search for a program called Floating IPS Patch. So I just opened up the filter, I put floating on here in the names. The rest of this you don't really need to worry about. Floating IPS Patch, version 1.31. And so you download this. As you can see, you have a bunch of files in here. So the one you want is flips. And this is what it looks like. You can't really see the text, but it says floating IPS. Or flips. And how you work this instead, let's download another hack, just for an example. Alrighty, now I want the only Grandmaster standard hack. Rakugaki Mario, here we go. And so instead of patch now, you go into download instead and just make it as usual. Rakugaki Mario. So as you can see, there's like actually multiple IPS patches, but I do want to just use the one for my example. And yeah, so you have something called a BPS patch. Sometimes it'll be IPS, like .IPS, but you'll get something called a BPS patch, and that's what Flips opens, but Flips also opens IPSs, so either or, you get a really tiny little program here, and you want to do apply patch. There's also create patch, but that's for if you're making a ROM hack yourself, and you will want to learn how to do this if you're making hacks, but apply patch. So, as you can see, you have the Rakugaki Mario.bps file. It's gonna look like that page icon again, but since I've been using this computer for a while, I have it binded to BPSs. So you click it, and then there's the Mario World ROM, and then you can save the ROM to your folder. So, yeah. And we'll also do the drag method instead. So you can just drag the ROM, and voila. There it is. Rakugaki Mario. By the way, this hack is really hard, so if you go for this, it's Grandmaster difficulty. And it's pretty ruthless, so good luck with that. But it is a good example, so figured I'd download that. So yeah, anyway, that's the new method of patching ROMs, and also the old method at the very end, because I wanted to show it off real quick. So, I'm not sure how many of these tutorials I'll make, but I figured this was a really useful one. And people in my real life existence has been asking about it, so I'm like, you know what, fine, if you want to play my stuff, I'll link you this video that I just made. So anyway, this is Daisuke Devon. It's never goodbye. It is always a see you later. Take care, everybody. Also, this is one of mine.